September 16th, 2017. Albany, New Zealand, a day that will live in infamy. For the Springboks, that is.
But he's got Bowden Barrett. You've got to be kidding. Goodness me, that is brilliant. So that is a record margin by a long way. And it is also the highest score the All Blacks have ever put on the Springboks in New Zealand. Finals
57-0. That's not a typo, folks. We didn't just beat the Springboks. We absolutely annihilated them. We were untouchable, unbeatable, and quite frankly, a bit bored with how easy it all seemed. 3 games in a row, the All Blacks will wallop the Boks at home and in Africa.
try. Now Aaron Smith looking for quick ball, fires it wide, Coles hands it on, and Dag scores. This is all over. See you later. And he'll make it easy, whether he's the goalkeeper.
But then in early 2018, something happened that would change the course of rugby history. Enter Rassie Erasmus, stage left. Now when Rassie was appointed as the new Springboks coach, we didn't think much of it. After all, we'd seen Springbok coaches come and go faster than a Nehe Milner Scudder sidestep. Great, we thought, another name to add to our highlight reel. Oh, how wrong we were. You see, Rassie isn't just any coach. He's a tactical genius with a Afrikaner accent so thick you could get lost in the smoke of a braai just listening to him. And he had a plan to turn the Springboks from the All Blacks punching bag into the sport's heavyweight champion. Fast forward to September 15th, 2018, Wellington, the home ground. The All Blacks love to lose at for some reason. And surely nothing could go wrong here, right? Wrong.
Intercept. Colby. And
36-34 to the Springboks. Just like that, the rugby world tilted on its axis.
Passed to Whiteley, and oh, what a move! Gianchi in again.
It was like watching your little brother finally beat you at backyard cricket. Shocking, slightly embarrassing. You're not quite sure whether to be proud or throw a tantrum.
Every picture tells a story. Look at Peter Steph du Toit. That's how much it means.
But how? How did Rassie turn a team that couldn't score a single point against us into giant killers in just 1 year? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the mind of a madman. No, I mean genius. Same thing, really. First up, physical dominance. Rassie looked at his team and thought, what if we just squash them? Revolutionary, I know. A forward pack so massive, they probably have their own gravitational pull. I've seen smaller mountains than some of these Springbok locks. Next, the kicking game. Now, kicking in rugby isn't exactly a new concept. It's been around since some bloke in England got tired of kicking the ball and decided to run with it instead. But Rassie took kicking to a whole new level. He looked at faster clip and thought, you know what would make this guy even more annoying? If he kicked the ball all the time. Watching the Springboks play sometimes feels like you're at a very aggressive game of tennis. Kick, chase,
Here's captain's shoulder.
Well, this is what we were expecting from Sonny Bill Williams there. Ability to barge through a tackle and offload.
It's enough to make you dizzy. And then there's the defensive pressure.
Now a loose pass.
Rassie looked at our beautiful flowing rugby as it should be played style and said, nah mate, we're going to stop that. And stop it they did. The Springbok defensive line under Rassie is tighter than a police right squad at Dunedin all week. It's like they've got some sort of telepathic connection. Probably all that braai smoke affecting their brains. With these tactics in place, Rassie set his sights on the big one, the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Now, we went into this tournament feeling pretty good about ourselves. Sure, the Springboks had given us a scare in Wellington, but we were still the All Blacks for crying out loud. Our pool match against South Africa was tight, but we came out on top 23-13. A good win, we thought, a sign that order had been restored to the rugby universe. No team had ever lost in the pool rounds and won the World Cup. How wrong we were.
Taking the opportunity, isn't it? It was a wonderful break up the right hand side, and then that just the awareness of Bowden Barrett to attack.
Fast forward to October 26, 2019, Yokohama, Japan, World Cup semi-final, us versus England. And where were the Springboks? Watching from the stands? Nope, they were right there in the final, having knocked out Wales in the semis, and then they only went and won the darn thing, didn't they? 32-12 against England. Now, normally seeing England lose would be cause for celebration, but watching the Springboks lift that Webb Ellis Cup, well, it felt like they were lifting it with our tears. Just like that, Rassie had taken a team from rock bottom to the top of the world in 2 years. It was enough to make a Kiwi fan weep into their Steinlager, or LNP if you're feeling particularly patriotic. Now, you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Rassie had reached the pinnacle. Surely he'd rest on his laurels. If only. 2020 and 2021 were weird years for everyone thanks to a certain global pandemic that shall remain nameless. Rugby took a back seat and we all held our breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Enter the British and Irish Lions tour of 2021. Now this is where Rassie really showed his, let's call it creativity. Remember the hour-long video critiquing ref Nick Berry's performance? Yeah, that happened during this tour.
These are difficult calls, these next couple of ones, and I can understand that he sometimes gets them wrong. And it
was like watching a very intense, very Afrikaner man stressing over his braai give a PowerPoint presentation on why his team should have won. And you know what? It worked.
There's 182 points for Scotland.
The Springboks won the series 2-1. At this point I was starting to think Rassie had some sort of rugby voodoo doll hidden away in his braai. The 2022 Rugby Championship rolled around, and guess who decided to show up and rain on our parade? That's right, the Springboks. But Rassie wasn't done. Oh no, he was just getting started. Enter the Bomb Squad. Now the Bomb Squad isn't a break-dancing crew or a new energy drink. It's something far more terrifying. It's Rassie's secret weapon, a bench packed with forward behemoths ready to demolish anything in their path. While other teams' replacements come on to make an impact, the Bomb Squad comes on to make craters. Imagine you're in all black. You've just spent 60 minutes grappling with giants, your legs feel like jelly, and you're dreaming of the final whistle. Then you look up and see a fresh pack of human juggernauts jogging onto the field in white shorts and green jerseys. It's enough to make you want to fake an injury and head for the aftermatch function. August 25th, 2023, Twickenham, a neutral venue, they said. It'll be fine, they said. Spoiler alert, it was not fine. 35-7, the biggest ever defeat just before the World Cup. It was like Rassie and his Springboks were the Ram Raiders and we were the poor jewellery store in the middle of an Auckland block of shops. Now I know what you're thinking, surely it can't get worse. Oh my sweet summer child, let me introduce you to the 2023 Rugby World Cup. October 28th, 2023, Paris, the World Cup final, the All Blacks versus the Springboks. It was like rugby destiny. The ultimate showdown, David versus Goliath, except both teams were Goliath and we couldn't figure out which one was which anymore.
Kijk dus. Dus op ik in, schouder op ik in. En dat kan het hier elkaar wees.
12-11, 1.1 darn point. Do you have any idea how much Kiwi beer was cried into that Sunday morning? Let's just say the entire country probably had a collective hangover for a week. Except for the 500,000 expat South Africans on the north shore of Auckland. And there it was, Rassie's masterpiece complete. He'd taken the Springboks from a 57-0 drubbing to back-to-back World Cup champions. It was like watching a real-life rugby fairy tale, except in this version, Cinderella was a bunch of enormous South African blokes and Prince Charming was a tactical genius with a strange South African accent. But wait, there's more. I feel like I'm saying that a lot in this video. Thanks, Rassie. Let's talk about two more factors that have contributed to Rassie's success. Super Rugby and selection policies. Remember when we had South African teams in Super Rugby? Those were the days. Our players got to experience the joys of playing at altitude, dodging vuvuzelas, braais in the car park, and trying to tackle guys who seemed to be made entirely of biltong protein shakes and determination. But in 2020, the South African teams left for the greener pastures of Europe. We thought, great, no more long flights to Johannesburg. Little did we know, we were shooting ourselves in the foot. While our boys are belting the Melbourne Rebels and New South Waratahs year in year out, the Bulls, Stormers and co are over in Europe getting battle hardened against different playing styles every week. They're conditioned to Northern Hemisphere rule interpretations. It's like they're in rugby university or they're still in rugby high school. And then there's the selection policies. Here in New Zealand, we have this quaint little rule. You have to play in Super Rugby to be eligible for the All Blacks. It's like we're running a rugby version of The Bachelor where you can only pick contestants from your own suburb. Meanwhile, Racey's over here treating the rugby world like his personal buffet. South African playing in France. Bonjour, tearing it up in Japan. Konnichiwa. As long as you can wear green and gold without breaking out in hives, you're eligible. Rassie's diving for craze on a tank while we're free diving on one breath. So there you have it. The complete picture of how Rassie Erasmus solved the All Blacks puzzle. He didn't just beat us, he rewrote the entire rulebook on how to play against us. The physical dominance, the kicking game, the defensive pressure, the bomb squad, the overseas players, the European experience. It's like he looked at everything we were doing and said, that's cute, watch this. But here's the thing, as much as it pains me to say it, and believe me, it does, this is what makes rugby great. This constant evolution, this chess match between nations. Rassie raised the bar and now it's our turn to respond. Will we get back to our 87% win rate from the McCaw, Kaino, Red and Carter days? Let's get behind our boys in black every game. To all you Kiwi fans out there, keep the faith. To all you Springbok fans, enjoy it while it lasts. And to Rassie, we see you. You are magnificent Rainbow Nation genius. The game is on. If you enjoyed this deep dive into our national rugby existential crisis, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And if you're a Springbok fan, well, you should subscribe and spam the comments too. Until next time, keep the rugby spirit alive and remember, in rugby as in life, it's not about how many times you get knocked down or how many times you get carded in a World Cup final. It's about how many times you get back up. Kia kaha.